exercise today. First stop, morning. High plank position. One leg up, get that stretch in your hip flexors, and then pull upper body through. Actually, pull your lower body, pull that opposite hip through, and your opposite hand and elbow should be pulling back as if you're doing a row. It'll make sense later, more so, but really think about opening up the chest and pulling that elbow back, and then switching back, high plank position, one leg up, pulling back. Again, lifting rib cage up, pulling the elbow back, and then pulling back into it. Now, components are, this bottom hand needs to be pressed into the floor to activate those muscles over here, right? Obviously, and the upper back's gonna be activated when you pull that elbow back. If that's too much for you in the beginning, we are doing 40 seconds of it. So, I wouldn't be mad at you if you just did a few grasshoppers to open up the hips first. And then 2 or 3 down, then start doing that flow and go into it, okay? 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest, 3 rounds. Warm up, 2 exercises, 3 intervals. Simple stuff, you've been doing it all week long. Make sure you take your 60 seconds rest after each interval, and each interval try to improve your time on the previous round, or previous interval. Now, first exercise, kettlebell swings. What's the primary mover in the kettlebell swing?
Glutes, hips.
Glutes. Glutes are, that's a great answer. That's number 1, indeed. Primary mover. Number 2. 2 primary movers, not hips. Hips is a joint, looking muscles. Next, glutes are correct. Close to the glutes. They help the glutes. The glutes help them. Where?
Close to your flexors.
No. Hamstrings. Glutes, number 1. Hamstrings, number 2. 3.
4.
Quads.
Quads. 4th core. Let me explain. So, key components. Kettlebell swing. Pushing those hips back. All that weight is being back here. Distributed back here in your hamstrings and glutes, right? From that point, you're pressing your feet into the floor, extending your knees. Now your quads are helping, right? At that point, that kettlebell's coming forward. Your job is to brace down on your core to keep that kettlebell from tipping you back this way, okay? Now, getting into a kettlebell swing, it is, let me show you one, and you can answer the next question. What movement can we relate to the kettlebell swing? When we get our hips in position. Perfect. I was pointing at you because I knew you knew it. Waiting for you to take the step and tell me. Deadlift does what? Break that down even further. 2 components in the deadlift. Hip hinge, neutral spine, flat back. Right? So if I'm looking to keep a flat back and my hip hinge, 2 very simple things. Right? Hinging forward. My back stays flat. Where's my head? Looking straight down. 3 points of contact. Head, upper back, thoracic, and then lower back, lumbar spine. Connected to the pole, or PVC, at least touching it. It's creating a straight line. Then, I extend my hips. Boom! I want to maintain this position. So I'm pushing my hips forward. In order to maintain that position, I have to brace down on my abs. Core, tight. If not, I'm going to go this way. And that's not keeping the neutral spine. Right? So, hinge, core tight, head down, following that path, and then head up. So, how do we get into a kettlebell swing correctly? Position yourself 1 foot length away. Now your hips are back. Now you have to push your hips back. Now you're reaching forward. Okay, now when you tip that kettlebell forward towards you, you're activating all these muscles under here, your lats. Now your hips are already back, tipping that kettlebell forward, now you have your lats engaged. Now, if you've ever hiked a football, maybe you have. If you haven't, you're thinking about hiking your football. And you're bringing that bring that bell toward this area, in between your hip flexor and your knee, up high. You don't want to go too low, it's a lot of pressure for your lower back. So you're pulling that towards you, right into a swing. Now that weight's back here, it's already loading up the hamstrings and glutes, and then you start your first swing. Once you do your reps, you push your hips back and then park it. Let me show you an example. hip hinge, neutral spine. Not easy, but that's how I can break it down into a very kind of, I see that done correctly, sort of, with the visual, but I'm so structured with how I get into that position to train myself to do them correctly. And I'm not even the best at it. Now, your exercise number 2, dead bugs. You're gonna keep that kettlebell. We just talked about bracing down the core, right? Keeping the abs nice and tight. So now you're gonna keep that kettlebell. You're gonna go into a dead bug position, right? Lower back is flat on the floor. Think about this. Rotating that shoulder out so those lats stay active. They help out with the core. They help support the lower back and spine. Now you're in a dead bug position. Belly button's drawn in. Now, this stays static and the opposite stays static. Okay? Now, as I extend that leg, the goal is to keep that lower back flat. Hand, arm, lower back stays flat. Naturally, your body's going to want to do that. Your job is to keep that core nice and tight and then continue with your reps. One side at a time. I don't even know how many reps are on the board. But you're keeping that belly button drawn in. When you're done, down. Safety first, please. Up, over your head. Reset, and then back into the other side. Rinse and repeat. Lower back is there. Now opposite. Okay, continue with your reps. Done. There's a lot of information, I get it. Those are some simple things to think about when you're doing these exercises. We're doing 3 intervals. Make sure you take 60-second rest in between. 3, 2, 1! All right, built by EMOMs, 40 minutes of work, 4 exercises. Starting with a low rep number, and then building up from there, adding same amount of reps until you can't do it any longer, and then move on to the next. But not before you do 2 minutes of some kind of active rest. Bike, row, jump rope, something. First exercise, squat, crawl out, 2 reps. Low squat position. I'm going to suggest, if you can, add some weight. If not, no worries. But it's going to add a little bit of a grind to it. Just by holding those weights, it's going to be taxing your lower body and your upper body and your core a little bit more. No weights, no problem. You can still do a squat, crawl out, and end up in that low squat position here. Okay, 2 plus 2 each round. Next up, hang cleans. Okay, take a neutral position with your feet. Really, a hang clean is trying to generate some power with your hips to get those dumbbells up to your shoulders. Okay, so it's hips, and then following up with the shoulders. Hips, same kind of position we just did. Exploding this way, and as you do that, shoulders lift up. Okay, 5 plus 5 each time. Preeti, could you grab your medicine ball, please? Next up, butterfly sit-ups. Butterfly, feet in, knees out, arms back. Big exhale on the way up. 1 vertebrae at a time on the way down. Thanks, kid. Okay, so either way, you're going to be working with or without a ball. If you're using a ball, it's going to be a little bit easier to get up, but you're taxing your body a little bit more because you're holding weight. You may be burning a few more calories. You may be getting more lats out here. If you don't have a ball, you're probably going to be using more core. Okay, so your choice what you want to do with that, but that's 5, adding 5 each time. Last up, jumping split squat. Think of the dead bug position we just did. You were alternating, right? So opposite forward. So if my left knee is forward, my right elbow should be forward. And I'm thinking about rotating as I jump, okay? Getting that core working as you use your legs, obviously. 3 each, adding 3 each, adding 3 each round. That's it. Those are your 4 questions, comments, concerns. Push your limits. Go until you can't get any more in that minute. Let's go.